Hamma was fucking right. And don't you dare tell me... Hello and welcome to Incomplete Geeks, a gay geek podcast where we talk about all sorts of geeky things. Sometimes we know a lot about it, but sometimes our knowledge, it's a little bit...
incomplete.
That's John, I'm Nick, and if Magneto's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I feel like you could have fleshed that out a little bit more. It wasn't your best. But
What was the one last time? What did we do last time?
remember.
I mean, it's better than Buffy's Slay. You know what? They can't all be winners.
They can't all be Cruel Hole to Fill.
Cruel Hole to Fill will never be topped.
It can't be Save the Queer Leader, Save the World either.
That was great too. I did like that. Was great.
Yeah, how are you, Nick?
Medium well. How are you?
Like a good steak. I prefer my steaks medium well. People think I'm weird about that, but I don't care. I'm all right. It's been what a weird fucking week this been. I mean, it's basically June and it's 15 degrees outside here in London.
Sideways rain and shitty weather, and everyone's gonna start killing people soon. Like, tempers are gonna flare if we don't get some fucking sunshine here.
Yeah. And 47% of those murders will be from me because I am needing the vitamin D.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 15 degrees. For our American listeners, that's about 57, like high 50s Fahrenheit. It's cold for
Not
June.
enough for June. Eat my ass, June.
There was some TikTok that was like some riff on British people hearing that it's going to be the wettest summer on record. How do they know? First of all, how do they know? And B, what the fuck?
Meteorologist, John. Like, you know that's a job, right?
Yeah, but you don't know.
It's
You
like
can't
a whole job.
you can't predict the future like 3 months.
No, but they can predict the weather. That's their whole job.
Yeah, but there's like a time.
It's like a whole
there's a time
job.
that it gets
That's a
past
whole
their
job.
percentage, whatever.
You can follow the Met and you can follow the Weather Channel on TikTok, and they'll explain how they know all this to you. What are we talking about today, John?
Do they sponsor us? Don't give them a shout out.
No, but they're great. They're really fun.
Actually, I do like them. Anyway, so today we're talking about, and this was actually your idea, but I brought it up because I thought it was a perfect segue from coming off of our X-Men high. On our list of ideas, we wanted one of our many ideas that we never really get around to doing is villains who are actually right in one way or another.
Yeah.
And I was scrolling down because we had other plans, but we pushed them back. I saw this on the list. And I was like, hey, that's a good segue coming from Magneto because
Magneto was right.
right, you know, I think Magneto is the epitome of villains who are actually right.
When I was like Googling trying to come up with other ideas, every single list had him on it, if not number one.
Yeah, my in-depth research, most of them were number one. And it's you know what? Should we talk? Okay, let's frame our argument and then start with Magneto because I think there's no way we can get around starting with Magneto.
Yeah.
But like villains who are right, not necessarily in their methods, because that's kind of what makes them villainous. Is sometimes their methods aren't great, including loss of life and damage and property, etc. But either their intentions or their reasoning are actually quite sound, quite logical. And if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, here, I have an idea, keep that in mind because we might come to it. But if we don't, let us know because we love hearing ideas. If you have an idea of if you get to the end of this episode, and we didn't mention a villain that you think that we should have mentioned, write to us. Email us at incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on TikTok, and Instagram, whatever it's called. Our handles there are at incompletegeeks. We like hearing from you.
Well done. Wonderful plugging. Excellent. Well done.
It's like I have practice with this.
So Magneto was right.
Magneto was right. Why was Magneto right, Nick?
It was difficult. That was the kind of like the difficult part of X-Men 97 was trying to be on Professor X's side. Like the fact that they didn't all take Magneto's side. As we progress more and more, it's like really hard not to be like, Magneto is right. Professor X just wants everyone to be like, let's all get along, and if they're scared of us, we should just accept their tolerance. Right? Magneto's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You've been treating us like shit and murdering us. You just slaughtered people. And I'm supposed to be like, Trish Tilby's like, people are upset. It's like, you killed us. It's so difficult.
It's your fault that we're upset, Trish.
It's the whole, like when people, like when your parents or grandparents, when they're like, people are protesting, they're like, they shouldn't be messing up things. It's like, we can't be nice all the time. We can't be nice to racists. We can't be nice to crazy people. We can't be nice to Lauren Boebert. We can't be nice to Marjorie Taylor Greene. We can't be nice to these people.
How dare
and
you
just hope everything works out.
No, you're right.
I don't actually know who Lauren Boebert is. I just know that she got
both Congress people.
Yeah, I know Marjorie. I know Marjorie. I know of Marjorie.
I'm so upset.
Like that sort of thing.
I think you're totally right. I think there's a fine line between being tolerant of hatred and actually living in actual harmony, which is kind of what Professor X would want. But especially nowadays, the whole this isn't a political podcast, but the whole divide between like the left and the right seems to be like the right is intolerant and the left, I mean, the extreme left is also a bit intolerant, but generally on the left there's always I lost my train of thought now. But
intolerance of hate is acceptable,
and we want that sort of harmony, but we can't get it unless we embrace a little bit of intolerance.
The difference is like, I don't like you and I'll never like you, but I don't think you should die. Whereas the other side is like, I don't like you and I think you should die. And have no rights. So Magneto was right. And yes, maybe he shouldn't have wiped people out, but then again, he was stopping mutants from being wiped out by intolerant, racist robot machine people, all of whom volunteered Trish Tilby to be in that fucking Sentinel program. So you know what? Get what you deserve.
I think what it comes down to, and I think this has real world parallels as well. It's like the people who have the responsibility of changing that. Like if you really want to live in harmony, you have to stop being intolerant.
Yeah, the emphasis is always being put on the people who are progressive and saying we want human rights or we want equality. That it's not on them. To cause the harmony. It's on the people who are like, no, I think you should die. It's their fucking fault. So
I think that whatever their justification is, it's like you're the one that's causing the problem. I mean,
does this kind of theme come up with any of your other ones? Because I'm actually looking at my list and it's kind of a similar vibe. If in some bizarre situations and different situations.
I don't think it comes from. Well, the thing is, I think what makes Magneto unique and his USP is that his motivation is that he's protecting his own people from the other people who want to kill them. I don't think that nobody else has that kind of same theme. So if you want to stay in this theme, you should listen to yours because we haven't compared our lists yet, have we?
No, not yet.
Important point.
Well, a similar kind of one, in a similar vein, I'll do this one and get it out the way, that you probably have Killmonger.
I do have Killmonger on my list, yes, very good.
Click. Which is a similar kind of vibe, because, again, it was really difficult to watch it, and pretty much right up until the end when, I forget, it's been so long since I've seen the first one.
Well, at the end there's like horrible CGI. Anyway,
up until the end when he's kind of like, let's kill loads of people. All his thinking and all his reasoning all the way up until like the right at the end, like the third act, when they're like, okay, we need to wrap this up and make Chadwick the hero again. He's right. He's speaking truth. And I was like, let's not be friends with these people. They're shit and all that kind of stuff.
No, I guess that is kind of a parallel to Magneto as well, because I think a bit of a difference is that he comes from a disadvantaged background. Growing up as a black person in America, which I know we both have so much experience with, and then realizing that his relatives are from one of the richest countries in the world, probably the richest country in the world, and he still had to endure that kind of upbringing. It would make you it would make you a little cross.
And that he didn't do anything. And that wasn't his dad supposed to be?
His dad was the king's brother, but I don't know if...
Was he the elder brother?
That was my next question mark. I don't know.
Should research this.
But then if he was, then why was he exiled? Was there like I don't know. Whatever the lore is.
Right. It would have been really easy to Google this and find this out. But anyway, like the fact that, Wakanda and T'Challa didn't help anybody else, didn't help black people anywhere else in the world, didn't help literally him. I get it. It's like, well, no shit. You suck.
And the whole point of that first film, which is why it was so good, because it had to. The debate was: does Wakanda remain in the shadows and being secretive, or does it make itself vulnerable in a way by making itself known to the world? And I guess at the end of that film, T'Challa kind of comes to Killmonger's side a little bit. He understands where he's coming from, and that his mind is changed, which I think is the point of character progression, character growth. Yeah, sure. Character development.
Yes.
And so in that way, Killmonger as a villain is very effective, and it is helped by the fact that he's not wrong.
he's not wrong. Yeah. Not wrong.
But then, of course, the only difference is that he actually was also killed people to get his point across.
Yeah, it's always kind of with most of them, like, you're with them right up until the point they're like, let's just kill everyone. And sometimes that's in keeping with their character. Sometimes it's just them pushing it a bit too far because they're like, okay, we're actually, we need to make you unlikable or wrong before. Otherwise, we're like...
Do you think that's just a plot device, or do you think that's actually kind of a...
It's a bit of a trope, though, isn't
it? Yeah.
It's a very kind of comic booky cartoon trope. They do this where they kind of... They challenge the norm, don't they? And then they're seen as right. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. You're controlling people. Or, oh, you're taking away free will. Or, oh, you're killing all people when you only want to kill some people. Yeah. It's pretty standard, kind of.
The cost that they're willing to pay to get to that ideal is too much. It's not that... I guess which is kind of the difference between heroes like, Captain America and, all the X-Men people. That's like they have... this idea of harmony, but they're not going to do that horrible thing to get it, no matter what. I don't know why I thought of Captain America in that point. But it's kind of the way that it works.
Who else you got?
Let's talk about Watchmen.
Yes.
Do you have Ozymandias on your list?
No, because I don't remember who he is.
That's fine.
I saw it. Is he in the show or the film?
You know what? I don't know if he's in the show, because the show's set like 20 years before or something, isn't it? Or is it after? I don't remember. I didn't watch the show. I read some of the comic, the only comic that I ever attempted to read. And the film is fantastic as well. He's played by Matthew Good in the film, if you know who that is.
Yes.
So he's such a great character because he's not like super duper. He's not got some sort of weird mystical superpower. He's just a smart guy. Yeah, that's my
smart.
But he just kind of outwits everybody by putting together this plan in the comics. Okay, so you remember in the film, he kind of tricks Dr. Manhattan, the big blue guy, into not seeing this part of the future because there was some sort of nuclear event or something that he couldn't see past.
Okay.
And so Ozymandias was able to place basically nuclear detonations in the big cities around the world, and in doing so blames Dr. Manhattan for that, and that kind of makes Dr. Manhattan sort of say, okay, you're right, I gotta hear that everyone's gonna blame me. But the whole result of that is basically it unites the world against a perceived outside threat, where it's like, okay, we need to stop fighting amongst ourselves and become a unified race. In the comic books, I think he summons like an extraterrestrial giant sort of a bit like Gargantos from the second Doctor Strange film, which is like a big sort of alien that sort of destroys half of New York kind of thing. But it has the same kind of effect where he basically just brings everyone together. He's got that iconic line as well in the film where I forget who it is. I think it's Dan Draper and Dr. Manhattan. They finally get to his base in Antarctica, and they try to stop him from doing it. And he's like, "I did it 35 minutes ago." He's got that great line. Do you remember this?
No, I don't remember the film. It's too long.
I did it 35 minutes ago, but it's great because he finally comes out and explains all of his plot, and he's that trope of the villain monologuing about their plan,
It's like, I've already done
it. Yeah, but he's already done it, so it's already on the way. But it's great. What do I have here? Yeah, so like he killed a lot of people, but his overarching goal was to unite humanity in a way.
There must be so many other examples of villains who've done that, but I can't think of them. Ones who actually went through with it and it unites people against like a threat. That seems like a very
it's an underused trope,
Superman Brainiac or something kind of thing where like, oh, I did it for their own good and now they're all
well, in a weird sort of in a very, very long-term kind of way, it's kind of what happens in the Dune books as well. This god emperor half human, half worm, half sandworm kind of thing rules for like 20,000 years or whatever, but as like an oppressor of all these planets and galaxies or whatever. Maybe not in galaxies, because there's one galaxy. But afterwards, it kind of, the whole point of it was just to bring everyone together so they appreciate free will in a way. This is secondhand, but
20,000 years. Is like,
yeah.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah, who's going to remember that? But basically, that was the point.
Okay.
What about Thanos?
Yeah, I saw Thanos as well. I'm not sure he was right, because I think it's pretty flawed logic.
Yeah. Everyone sort of talks
Thanos
about, Thanos was right. It actually shows up in the on the urinal in the Hawkeye TV show, doesn't it?
Yes.
And Clint is like,
And yeah, lots of people, and it was kind of fun to use it as a bit of a trope when when you're like sick of people, it's like, yeah, Thanos was right. Should have snapped you guys away.
Unfortunately, it's random, so you couldn't have chosen that anyway.
True, but it's also very flawed logic, because wasn't it half of all living things? So it's half of all your resources, all your food, all your stuff on every planet is gone. It's assuming every planet has the same setup as Earth, and also it's not a problem of overpopulation. It's just rich people hoarding resources on Earth that's causing the problems. We're not running out of resources because there's too many of us. We're running out of resources because the rich are hoarding all of them. So, back to be political.
I didn't think of that, actually. I thought you were going to say something else, but yeah, that's an interesting point. Like,
yeah, we can support this many people on the planet. There is more than enough food, space, energy, all that sort of stuff. But because of a handful of evil villains who are billionaires and lawmakers and corrupt governments, they ration it out. They're like dragons sitting on a hoard of gold while the rest of us peasants run around, I
haven't thought of that.
I think about it a lot.
I mean, at one point you said at the beginning of that tirade...
Sorry.
Just kidding. Was that half of all living things, so... Which is a good point, because even
half of all the chickens have gone. So
even in the film, there's a weird sort of I didn't know this. I read a review about how the birds stopped chirping because half the birds are gone. Other living things are also resources, which I didn't think of, because if the logic is remove half the people or sort of intelligent life forms, that's a bit different. One argument that I heard was, couldn't you just use the same snap to just double the resources?
Yeah.
Instead of just killing people?
It's flawed logic, and it's just, I don't put him on the list.
I think he's worth talking about it because people talk about him as as like Thanos is right. But why? Why do people say that? Is it just a meme? Is it just a thing
I think
to
so.
say?
I think it was fun just to think, because we... Not long after the second one was the pandemic, and people showed that they're all terrible. It was like such a unifying moment when the whole world showed that they did not give a shit about anyone else. So it was kind of like that bubble vibe. It's like, yeah, he was right. Maybe we should have got rid of half of you people who refused to wear a mask or that sort of stuff. It was just this kind of global understanding that, like, oh my god, people are so stupid. After Brexit, Trump, pandemic, we're like, maybe he was right. Maybe we don't need half of you, because there's always a divide, isn't there?
Who decides which half goes, which half stays?
Just get rid of shit, people. If the stones can snap away half of all of reality, I'm pretty sure they can figure out which people are shit. Because some people are shit and they know it.
They know it. What I think that highlighted it
Highlighted.
The one thing that I highlighted in the world is that people are angry and they don't have something to be angry about. And it's like, if you are angry about not having enough resources or something, then that's something that you should fight about, you know?
I mean, we're really getting into the politics here because that's how politicians work. Is like people are frustrated and angry, and so they're like, immigrants though. And so they direct your anger at something. And people fall for it every time. Yeah. Immigrants.
Well, because it's
black
fear,
people,
basically, isn't it?
The gays, trans people are taking away women's rights. It's small boats, anything. They'll do anything, and people will fall for it. Because we all have our vulnerable, stupid moments, and we're all angry and frustrated.
Yeah,
and
I'm not surprised that people fall for that because it's just easy. And we're talking about villains who are right. It's not going to be villains who are right easy. Like, oh no, that person should die, or that building should be blown up. It's not easy villainy. It's complicated villainy. So I'm not surprised we talk about the politics in a way. This is probably the most political we've gotten. But like also,
I've got some more they're all political because obviously villains are who's deciding what's right and what's wrong. It's ethics and morals. So we're going to that.
It's not simple. It can be quite complicated.
Let's take a sidetrack then. How about this one out of the side? Wicked Witch of the West.
I have her on my list too.
And I'm good. I think that's a universal one because whoever played that character, she was
in the film.
In the Judy Garland version, not the original or the
Hamilton
remix. She was so amazingly terrifying that I still feel a little bit scared when I was looking at the pictures. I'm still a little bit like, ooh, it's a bit much. So, a wonderful, brilliant character actress who scarred generations of children. Well done. But I love how it's such a millennial thing when you look back at heroes and villains of media you watched as a kid and you're like, oh no, the hero is a piece of shit and the villain was actually right. And it's such a kind of common thing. That we can even turn the Wicked Witch of the West, this evil gargoyle of a creature, is like, what did she actually do that was so bad? They never said, why is she so wicked?
Yeah. It's an interesting point because she's on my list, but I didn't have any notes about her because I've never seen Wicked. Sorry, bad guy.
Oh, that's fine. No, we're not talking about Elphaba. That's different because she's been rewritten as the hero, so that's fine.
Okay, so but that kind of is a spin-off, is an adaptation of a story that's already there. Like they couldn't have made that story unless there was the opportunity to sort of say, actually, what did she do that was so horrible?
What did she do? You killed her sister.
You dropped the house on her sister.
in the book and in the play, you know, she is a physically disabled woman, the sister, and you killed her and then stole her items, her valuable items, and just walk around in her shoes. Can you imagine if someone killed your sibling and then put their trainers on and be like,
even if it was unintentional, like she didn't mean to drop a house on her, but still,
get
like
the
you didn't
fuck
have
out.
to take the ruby slippers.
That's disgusting. And Glinda's there, like all along, like, fuck you, Glinda.
Glinda's like, are you a good witch or a bad witch? It's like,
bad witches are ugly.
Yeah, exactly. So
fuck you, Glinda. What a cunt. But I don't know if they ever discuss. I have seen Wicked. I did read the book as well. I can't remember much of it. It's pretty much similar. But I don't know if in the world of Wizard of Oz they ever say why she's so evil. Like, what does she do? Does she kill people? Does she torture and that sort of stuff? She doesn't do anything. She's got a castle with some monkeys and she leaves everyone alone. Until you kill her sister.
Yeah. She would have been fine. There was a prequel with, I think, James Franco and Mila Kunis about...
Oh, God, that was awful.
The wizard arriving.
And the wizard's a cunt as well, because it's James Franco and he works perfectly, you know.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Stop doing that to me. Stop changing.
What?
Stop changing everybody. Everyone's horrible.
Well, but even in that film, like...
In the film, yeah.
He wasn't a good guy. She was a victim of, you know... She was manipulated and everything like that.
Wait, was Mila Kunis Elphaba? Was she the witch in the film?
She turned green. Right. And Rachel Weisz was her sister, the East one. But yeah, I'm on her side now. It's like she's just hanging out with her monkeys and...
Yeah. And
you kill her.
She gets...
You invade her home and you like throw an acid bath on her face and she dies. And everyone sings a song. Fucking society.
The Munchkins. And society.
Yeah.
The Society of Munchkins. They're like, oh no, it's fine. Take her shoes. It's fine. You have to.
It's
the only way you get home. She's evil. She's good.
The Munchkins, Glinda, the Wizard, they all got blood on their hands. They're all fucked up.
But also, it's like, when did that come out? Like 1930 something?
Something.
I should know this. It was like late 30s because it was still black and white, sort of transition to color. But we can look back on it now and be like, yeah, that was awful.
I love that.
But at the time, it was just a simple sort of spectacular kind of thing. Yeah. What a time we live in. Right, who's next on your list?
I've got loads. Should we do a random? I've got a few similar ones. I got a couple of Disney ones.
I have no Disney ones, I think.
What?
Oh, well, technically one of my honorable mentions is a Disney one, but we'll save that for the end. Or not, whatever.
This is one I hadn't thought about before. And now I agree with Shere Khan from Jungle Book.
From Jungle Book. Shere Khan. He's king of the jungle. What did he want? He just wanted to kill Mowgli.
He just wanted to kill the man cub, because he's like, man is awful. It will hunt you and kill you for no reason. They'll set fire to stuff. He doesn't belong in the jungle. You're just hanging out with this guy.
Yeah.
He should be going back to the man village. It's different obviously the cartoon's different, the book was different, and the remake with the CGI weird stuff is a little bit closer to the book, in that it's like set during a drought, and Shere Khan is like, I'm not going to do anything because we all need to like not lose our minds because we've got no water. But if he's still around when things are, back to normal, fucking kill him, get him back to because people have been shot by stuff. Mankind are the problem, so he was fucking right. Get out! You're a human. Fuck off.
Okay, well, I'm gonna push back a little bit, just for his devil's advocate. He's a child. Does he have the same ambitions as other humans?
He goes back to the man village eventually, and I think he kills Shere Khan. In the book.
Right, in the book.
Oh, yeah. Geez. Well, he sets fire to Shere Khan, doesn't he? In the cartoon, he ties.
It was so. I've not seen that for a long time.
I watched it the other day. I love it. So yes,
because you're grown up and you can do whatever you want to.
I can do whatever the fuck I want to with my Disney Plus subscription.
Till it runs out.
It's out now, so I'm not doing it anymore. So I'm on his side. Man has his place, and it's not in the fucking jungle telling animals what to do and then hunting them. Because he does. He ditches his friends without even looking back the second a hot babe shows up, which is
Mowgli?
fine. Yeah.
Huh.
Off you go, and I bet they'll eat animals and hunt animals and encroach on their territory and set fire to stuff. So,
man is awful.
Man is awful. So I would like to
think that he could be rehabilitated. I would like to think that he could be habilitated. If you were a child, like Tarzan, for example, growing up in the jungle, not having any connection to civilization, Tarzan didn't grow up as like a horrible cheetah killing creature.
But he could. But the other guy did. He could. And he still set fire to Shere Khan. Also, both of those would have been feral, because it is biologically proven that you have to be around language within a certain period to absorb it. And if you don't, then you will never absorb it. So you'll be feral for the rest of your life. Mowgli and Tarzan would never have spoken a word of English.
Such a philosophical debate. Is it gonna?
I did developmental psychology at university, and that was something that we kind of looked at once. But anyway, so Shere Khan, I'm on his side. Plus, I love that kind of old school English accent bad guy in an Indian movie. But thank God they didn't. Well, the other one was Idris Elba. Or Shere Khan.
What, in the live action one?
Yeah, it's like, alright, Mowgli, get the fuck out. It was so stupid. It was so awful, but it looked great. So yeah, that's one of my Disneys.
Give me another Disney one.
I have another one that's kind of Disney.
Okay.
Captain Hook.
Okay, I saw him. I was looking through things and I saw him, but I didn't really read into it. Tell me why Captain Hook was actually right.
So,
is it because Peter Pan is awful?
Yeah, so the it's kind of like, I don't know if it's an official theory. I've never read the book. I'm not gonna. Let's face it, I'm not gonna read Peter Pan.
There's a book.
I
see the play when I was a kid.
The kind of fan nerd whatever critical theory is that Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, he kidnaps the boys, and we never grow old, because when they get to start becoming adults, he kills them.
Who kills them?
Peter Pan kills the boys, and he gets new ones. So he's like just child trafficking these children, and they never grow old, and he just kills them before they go old, and that sort of stuff. This is the thing. And so Captain Hook is trying to stop that.
Oh,
which I think is a great thing. That's such a fun, dark, disgusting twist. I can't validate or not because I haven't read the book.
Yeah.
But it's probably one of those weird, like old fairy tales when you read it, you're like, this is dark as fuck, which I do love. I believe that.
Yeah.
Which I do love.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's kind of a theory. It's not the cartoon.
Okay.
But I can see that happening. I can see that happening. If it actually happens in the book, if there's any kind of follow-up or book, proof that Peter Pan is killing these people, please write in to incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you.
Yeah, please do. And in case you missed that, it's incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com. Because I know you whisper a lot. And by the way, can you... Thank you very much. The only Peter Pan, Captain Hook thing that I keep thinking of is the TV show Once Upon a Time, which came out just after Disney acquired ABC, and so they got to do all these things. And first of all, Hook was hot, especially in the others. And they had one. I think Peter just. I think he's a main antagonist in one season. He kind of crops up here and there throughout then, but he's a dick.
Peter Pan freaks me out. He's this weird, shit-looking. He's fucking spoiled brat child, and I'm like, fucking kill him, Hook. Get rid of him. And he just throws him to an alligator. It's like, you fucking psycho. This man has been traumatized. And
he's been traumatized by this specific alligator somehow.
You're disgusting. Yeah.
Because his hand is missing, whatever.
Ick.
Weird. Okay.
And I do.
Anyway.
Okay. I mean, I've got more, but let's bounce back and forth. What else you got?
I don't want to do too much of Marvel, but obviously those are the big ones. What about
I've got a couple Marvels.
Just to dip into Marvel back at this because I think this is interesting. I didn't really like you liked it. I didn't really rate Love and Thunder very much. Mm-hmm. But Gorr the God Butcher as the villain in that one. I mean, people. I think it was because it wasn't a good film. I think we lost the opportunity to use Christian Bale and this character, and also he dies at the end. So, I mean, that was pointless. His whole point about gods do exist and they just don't like you. So I'm going to go around and kill them all because I have the power to do that now. And yes, I guess you can kind of say he's been corrupted by the Necro Sword, which has got connections to, I think, symbiotes in the comics.
Interesting.
Because it's wielded by, what's his face? Null. And Null is symbiote. Anyway, yeah. I mean, why not? It's not just righteous because he lost a child because of this particular god that he believed in didn't answer his prayers or whatever, but also gods in general are just assholes and I'm doing you all a favor. But of course but the thing is he doesn't do these what other villains on our list do by taking extreme.
Well, he's going to kill them all. So
he's going to kill them.
He's going to kill all the children. So
children gods?
Yeah. So, still a bit much.
Okay.
I'll take yours and kind of pivot off of the whole god angle.
Okay.
Hades.
Hades from Disney.
No. Hades from Greek mythology.
Oh, okay.
Not even similar. Disney's Hercules.
Yeah.
It's not even. He's not even Hercules. He's Heracles. So they didn't even get the name right. So that's nothing to do with it.
Isn't that just Greek and Roman differences?
Yeah, but if it's Greek, it should be Heracles. So.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, you're right. Because
otherwise, it wouldn't be Zeus. It would be Jupiter and that sort of stuff.
And Pluto, or whatever.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. But it's not. So, and I think there's kind of because Greek mythology is just gays love it and are obsessed with it. So there's
do they?
Do you not love it?
I mean, I'm into it, but I'm not like
How many Greek mythology books have you read?
What do you mean?
Like
any
Song of Achilles?
No, I read Circe. I read Circe.
Songs, was it Cries of the Women? Songs of the Women? Those two, that sort of stuff. Any Stephen Fry's one? All this shit. Did you watch Blood of Zeus on Netflix? All of this. No. I'm obsessed with it.
Okay.
Gays, maybe lesbians.
But I did watch Xena Warrior Princess.
Ah, lovely.
Is she from...
I don't know anything about that.
But she's kind of gays as well. Who is awful person.
Yeah, exactly. Hades is given such a bad rap in the cartoons, and like, oh god, he's evil. But in actual fact, like, he's one of the nicer ones. Like, Zeus is obviously a terrible, terrible
He's a dick.
person. And all of them are. Like, Poseidon is really fucking awful as well. All of them are very, very rapey, and the women who aren't rapey are punishing women for being raped. So they're all really terrible. Whereas Hades, he's not even like a bad guy. He's just god of the underworld. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. It's not like taking you to hell. It's just like, well, everybody dies, and they all hang out with him at the end. He gets a wife, and everyone's shitty about that, and the mum can't let go. I think he's the nice one.
I'm pulling a lot from the video game Hades, which has a sequel. It's out. Well, it's not out. It's like in beta testing at the moment, so you can buy it. But we mentioned it very briefly because on our Thirsty Video Games episode, but I hadn't played it back then. But I've played it since then, and the character of, I think they pull a lot of like side characters where they can create a lot of story about them. But in particular, the point is you play as Hades' son, who's trying to escape the underworld and connect with his family, who he just discovered that he has up in Olympus. But the whole point of the game is that you fail and you start over and do it again with different sort of iterations, different variations each time. Really fun game. It's got a good story. But basically, like, the whole point of it is you learn that you're trying to escape your dad for lying to you about your mother, who's the one who... Persephone, who gets captured. And anyway... And then as you progress through the game, through the story, it's you learn that your relatives up on Olympus who are helping you in certain ways but can't really communicate with you are actually dicks. Like, when they give you their favor, it's not always a good thing. They can take it away just as easily as they can give it to you. And all of them that are in it, like, you got Poseidon, you have Zeus and Ares, and even Aphrodite is in it as well.
Oh, what a
and
bitch.
They're so fickle with their favor, and they all say, "Oh, we just learned about you too. Come up. We can't wait to hang out with you when you get here." And then the story developed when you finally find Persephone, who's just like hiding on Earth. You have an agreement with her, and then the story changes a bit, where you continue trying to escape, but for a different reason. And then you try to develop this plot line, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I hear it's really good. How you kind of have to let the gods on Olympus know that Persephone is alive and wants to stay in the underworld. But it's really interesting. And I don't know how close it comes to actual mythology. But obviously the resources are
spotty,
sparse, and also they're not always consistent either.
No, of course not, because they're just stories.
Yeah.
But
of course.
It's also, it's kind of seen that the god of the underworld is the devil.
Yeah,
but that's not how he was ever really portrayed.
Do you think that? Who thinks he's the devil, though? Was it the ancient Greeks think he was?
It's kind of like in pop culture. It's kind of put that he's, even Disney, it's like he's the devil trickster trying to steal your soul and that sort of stuff.
Oh,
but
right, yeah.
Hades, the underworld isn't hell. Tartarus is the closest kind of version of hell, but it's just everybody dies.
It's just where the souls roll.
There is no heaven. You don't go a good place or a bad place. You can't go become a god. You just die.
Yeah.
So, and everyone associates death with evil, and it's like, it's not.
No, I mean,
it's just natural. Just what happens.
People want to avoid both of those things, but that's about all that they have in common.
But you can't do it forever.
You can bring it about sooner than natural by being evil, but
true.
Anyway,
but he wasn't. He just loved his wife and had to spend half the year without her because her mum couldn't be away from her.
Yeah.
But there we go. Yeah. So
was he a villain in mythology as well? Then were there stories?
No, but he was a villain. He's a villain in pop culture, isn't he? So he's a villain in Disney, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. How come there hasn't been a live action Hercules film? They've done every single other one.
They've been talking about it for ages. All we care about are the muses. I don't really care about anyone else.
Yeah.
All we care about are the muses, and that is a fucking brilliant format. And then just have some hot blonde guy in like a tank. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't really care about anything else.
Good Hades as well.
It's difficult, though.
I'm available. Yeah. Kevin Feige or whoever it is in Disney.
I don't think it's Kevin Feige in charge of that.
Is it Bob Iger still, or is he gone? I forget.
Yeah, he's still there, because it's not Ike Perlmutter, is it?
I'm available.
Oh, God.
No, it's not him either. Blue hair.
Yeah, you could do that. So, Hades. He was kind of right. Just let people leave him alone. Let people die. Blah, blah, blah.
He was right. What did he say?
I don't know. It's a bit muddled with him, so he's kind of... We're kind of, yeah.
Nice little sidetrack. My turn.
Go.
Agatha Harkness.
Oh, interesting. I've got Wanda.
You have Wanda?
Yeah, from Doctor Strange. Because I'm like, just fucking kill Doctor Strange. I hate him so much. Wanda was right. It's like, whatever. And then he does the exact same thing. So, this could have been avoided.
Okay. Let's do Wanda first. Because basically, yes, she is right in that regard. But also, Doctor Strange is stupid for not convincing her that she's wrong on other points. Like, she's after this girl for like so hard, but that cannot be the only way that she gets her children back or anything. And it's just a horrible story. It did not. So anyway, but yes, the point that I think you're making is that she says it early in the film where she's like, you change things and you're a hero, but I do it and I'm the bad guy. Like, that's not fair. And that's a good motivation. But the whole Darkhold corrupting her and she going crazy, like, why is she so bent on getting her children back? Why doesn't she want to find a reality with her brothers there? Why does she want to find a reality where the children don't have a mother and she can just sort of slip in? Like, there's so many, the logical inconsistencies just astound me.
They probably could have done all that, but also, like, even in WandaVision, everyone was like, "Oh God, you're doing all this, you're hurting us." Like, whatever. Like,
whatever. Like,
you guys go through what she went through, and no one helped her. Not a single fucking Avenger showed up to help her when her entire family and life was wiped out.
Yeah.
Clint gave her a hug, and then they said bye, and no one helped. So fuck you.
Yeah.
Wanda was right. I would have done it. Tell me you wouldn't have. If you lost everything in your life, tell me you wouldn't have turned a small town into a TV show.
It's understandable, but the moment that she realizes that she's hurting people...
She stops.
Okay.
She does.
She does repent. She's like, I didn't mean to... Which is
understandable. So she tries to stop the spell.
And then Agatha has other ideas.
So tell me, Agatha,
her main point, her main sort of motivation is that the Scarlet Witch is going to destroy reality and be awful, and is a force that needs to be stopped. And she's not wrong. Ow! I just pulled my... I forget why. That's all I remember from the... She's like... She knows that the Scarlet Witch is a force, because she's read it in the Darkhold, that is a force to be reckoned with, and that has to be... curtailed in some way, otherwise it poses a threat to reality. And her methods are not great because she's also been corrupted by the Darkhold. She tortures the kids, etc. So not great, but she's not wrong, because Wanda does go off and she doesn't have a control over powers, and she...
True. She could have helped instead of, like in the comics, she helps her rather than tries to do that. So, yeah. I believe in women, frankly.
I believe they exist as well.
I believe in women's rights and women's wrongs. Okay. I've got a big one for me, but you don't know this character, so I might have to explain it. But it might be a spoiler. It's from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I've seen the show.
The cartoon?
Yeah. I did. Haven't I told you this? I've seen the whole... There's only like 3 seasons or something, isn't it?
Yeah. And have you seen Korra? Have you seen Korra as well?
No, but I've heard about it.
Okay.
I've heard about it.
Oh, fantastic. Well, this one's more important. Hamma, the Bloodbender from season 3. The Puppet Master. Hamma was fucking right. And don't you dare tell me this is one of those tropes where they're like, because it's kids' TV, like they couldn't have her killing people. So the equivalent was she kidnapped people. And they're like, you've gone too far. Fuck you guys. She hasn't gone far enough. If she was ripping their eyeballs out, maybe. But all she was doing was like kidnapping people who were cunts. No fucking way. Hamma was fucking right. She was imprisoned and tortured for years. Her entire culture was wiped out by these colonizing, invading, genocidal assholes. And Katara's like, I'm not like you. I'm nice. Fuck you, bitch. Like, our entire society was wiped out, and you're telling me it's mean of me to put these people in prison. They put everyone in prison, and they killed every waterbender. They killed every airbender. And you're like, you shouldn't be mean to them. We don't win by doing that. Fuck off. Hamma was right.
Okay.
You'll never convince me otherwise. And Tress MacNeille was the voice, and she's fucking amazing.
I love
Tress MacNeille.
I don't remember that many details, but I do remember the waterbender being a really sort of interesting point in the show because, I mean, it's not until the third season that they kind of talk about these sub elements anyway, like there's metal bending and blood bending, etc., which I think is a really nice depth to this world building. Yeah. But no, I definitely watched all the shows because it was quite early on in this podcast, and I think it was no, it was before because it was still that was my pandemic show. I'd heard a lot about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch it.
Oh, fair. Because we have to do an episode on that, and I keep putting it off because it means so much to me. It's my favorite show of all time, and I keep putting it off. But I don't have to do the heavy lifting because we can both talk about it. Yay!
I have to I'll do some rewatching some of it.
We'll do some key episodes and do like a rewatch of some key episodes.
If you want Nick to get on his horse and we'll make an Avatar: The Last Airbender episode, write in and tell us.
Or we'll do multiple ones. We can do one for each book. Who cares? We got nothing but book. We got nothing. Each series is called a book. Each season is called a book. Book 1, water. Book 2, earth. Book 3, fire.
I remember that now that you mention it.
We got time. We can
do 4. How come there's only 3? How come there's no book 4, air?
There is. That's season 1 of Korra. Is book 1, air.
Oh. Was Korra as good as... Obviously, it's not as good as, but
it's not.
Was it as bad as people say it was?
No, not at all. But I was one of those people that, you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender is a perfect show. No disrespect to X-Men 97. It's better than that. Because it had a story already written. Beginning, middle, end. It was like, do it. And they had the villain, they had all of it, and they had, it's literal perfect television.
Yeah. And it had time to breathe.
And they had all of that kind of stuff, which 97 so far hasn't. After however many years of it finishing, the hype of like, oh my god, I need another show, because they never planned to do it. A new show's coming back. The expectations were so fucking high. Season 1 of Korra is fine, but, you know, I needed it to be the best thing ever in my life, and it wasn't, so a lot of us were like, But you go and rewatch it, and you're like, there's a lot of good stuff to it. It's not perfect. At Follow On, pretty much every villain from Korra was right.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Pretty much every one. Again, they do the thing where they're like, oh, maybe killing people, maybe not.
Step too far.
Naughty. Without spoiling it, you know, the villain in the first one is Aman. He believes in equal rights for benders and non-benders. He just wants to level the playing field because all the leaders and all the heroes are all benders with powers and that sort of stuff. And he's like, I don't think they should be the ruling class and that sort of stuff. So he sets up the Equalists.
Okay.
I won't just describe what goes in because there's other twists and turns, but we could watch it. Yeah. Season 2 was nuts. I don't want to talk about Season 2. Season 3, The Red Lotus, fucking great season. Book 3 change. And they are all anarchists and they think the government is bullshit. The Queen and all that sort of stuff are stealing resources from their people and all that needs to be teared down in order for people to be free and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
All of them are right. And Book 4, Kuvira, was trying to reestablish the Earth Nation away from a stupid dynasty and trying to pull everything together in the wake of everything falling apart. She was right too.
Okay.
Everyone goes a little bit too far at the end, but
But they have to in order to.
But in order to
root for the hero.
In order for us to root for the hero, otherwise it's like, yeah, we don't think this stupid, racist, entitled queen should be able to, like, treat people like they're slaves.
Okay.
Which side am I on exactly? So pretty much all the villains in there.
There's only 4 seasons, and they're all books as well.
Yes.
What are those called?
Air. Spirits. Change.
Okay. And cheese. Glory. I'm telling you, it's glory.
Oh no.
If we were in a pub quiz and be like, what's the final book of Legend of Korra? Do we need to pause now so you can look it up and we can cut out the pause?
Change. Air, spirits, change.
And why don't they go along with the elements anymore?
Because they've run out of elements. They did it with...
Because they're like lava.
Balance.
Okay.
Balance.
You get it? Did you get it?
Yes, balance.
Click. Okay, fine.
Which is a good season. That was a difficult one for them to make because they kept getting like cancelled or whatever every time. Anyway.
Oh, was it?
We could do a whole Patreon series about Korra if you want.
Patreon? Are we doing Patreon now?
Sure, why not? We can do.
Oh my god, there's a lot of... Let's do it. Fuck it, let's do it.
Sign up.
We've got it set up. My final Marvel one on my list of villains that were right is a film that I don't think you really liked very much, but I thought it was really good. The first Doctor Strange film and the villain Caecilius. He was right.
Yeah.
His whole thing... I read into it just now. His whole... I forget where it's mentioned, but his whole reason for learning the mystic arts was because he'd lost his family and needed to sort of cope with that, and he was learning all these...
Did we know that? Was that in the film?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I think it's mentioned briefly by like Mordo or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But he's a very promising student at the Ancient One. Ancient One?
Yes.
That's what it's called, right? Mm-hmm. The Ancient One sort of sees the promise in him, and then he finds out that she's a hypocrite and is using the dark arts because to stay alive or whatever, and all of his teachings just kind of thrown out the window. So yeah, he's not wrong. He's completely justified. Again, killing people isn't probably the way to sort of
maybe ending all reality, blah, 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 going too far.
Merging the world with the dark dimension probably isn't the best way to sort of cope with that. But again, he was like the very first line he says in the film is he calls her a hypocrite. And it's like such a nice foreshadowing clue, Easter egg, whatever you call it. And he's right.
I think I like the film. I just don't like Benedict Cumberbatch. I find him...
Is it just me, or is his American accent just slightly off?
Oh, it's awful. It's very similar to Hugh Laurie's.
Yes.
Because they're so posh English. So when they do they're quite growly.
It's kind of a bit like
it's just so laboured.
They're just trying a little bit too hard. I can't put my finger on what it is exactly, but I can tell
it's just that they're not naturally American. Like they have it's very and they talk that kind of American. It's awful.
Good point. It's the same as Hugh Laurie. I mean, the thing is, I think they're both great actors. I mean, he's on...
I just can't stand him. He's insufferable. He just makes my skin crawl. He's so hideous. But, people like him.
Let's keep this podcast positive, Howard.
When has it ever been positive? When is that a requirement of this podcast?
It's never.
Not. I have a Marvel one as well.
I don't think... Yeah, just one last thing about BC. He's not in that sort of echelon of actors that I sort of regard as the best ones because I've never seen him do anything wrong or bad. Like, I've never seen him do any bad work, but I still think he's talented. When he was playing Alan Turing, he was very good in that one as well.
Okay, I can't stand it.
And Frankenstein is good as well. Anyway,
Frankenstein, interesting.
Yeah, he was on at the National with Johnny Lee Miller, and they swapped roles like every other day or whatever, as the monster and the Doctor.
And they both played Sherlock.
And they both played a version of Sherlock, yeah.
I prefer Johnny Lee Miller's.
Oh no, he wasn't in The Crown, was he? I was going to say they both played Prime Ministers, but no, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't in The
Crown. I never heard of John... Sorry, side note about The Crown. I never knew what John Major looked like. Because
he looks like that.
But then I watched The Crown.
Yeah.
And I saw him on some... Maybe it was like the Queen's Funeral or something like that. And so I looked him up and I was like, oh my god, that looks a lot like him.
Yeah. It was a lot like that.
It was really good.
Great job. He didn't sound like him, but it was good. It was very good.
That's my last Marvel one.
I have one last one, which is a comic book one, so I'll speed through it. In a specific situation, Cyclops
was a villain.
Cyclops was right in lots of times. I'm not anti-Cyclops, but in this particular story arc, he was right, and I'm pissed off that he wasn't allowed to be. In Avengers versus X-Men, it was this big story arc.
He's one of the Phoenix Five, isn't he?
Exactly. So the whole point is, like, before that happens, is it's all about Hope, who is the first mutant born after M Day. So, you know, there's only there's like 200 mutants left. This one shows up. She comes back and she's raised by Cable, blah, blah, blah. So the Phoenix is coming towards Earth and it's heading towards Hope, and they know that. So the Avengers are like, we're going to take Hope. And they're like, no, you're not. Like,
what do you mean take her?
We're going to take her, and because Wolverine's with the Avengers, he's like, the Phoenix is coming and I'm Hope. We're going to take her. And he's like, no, you're not. She's a teenage girl, and she lives with us. So fuck you.
How do they know? How do they know the Phoenix is coming for Hope?
It manifests through her, even though it's still in space. It's comic books, John. Don't question this.
Okay, no, I'm not questioning it. I'm just trying to understand the story.
They do. Okay.
So they know it's coming for Hope.
They know it's coming for Hope. They know that she'll be the host of it, that sort of stuff.
Because the Avengers think they're going to protect
Well, they know this, like, we can't have the Phoenix. She'll be Jean killed the planet, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So they're like, but what are you going to do with Hope?
Yeah.
You don't know what to do. She's a mutant. She'll be with us. And if she does get the Phoenix power, we'll teach her how to use it and that sort of stuff. And they're like, no, we're going to take her. And they're like, you fucking aren't, mate. You show up here.
Is that what the whole Avengers vs. X-Men is about?
Yeah, it's all about the Phoenixy stuff. Right, okay. So, and all this kind of shit. And, like, Cyclops' argument's like, where the fuck have you been, Captain America? That you're like, oh, we need to look after people. It's like, where have you been? Our entire population was decimated by one of yours, love you, Wanda, but by one of your team, wiped out an entire population. Where the fuck have you been? Have you been looking after us, the vulnerable 200 people left? Fuck you. And you're going to Hope is their messiah. So Scott believes that Hope with the Phoenix could bring back the mutants. They're like, no, we're going to take her and make sure that doesn't happen. He's like, fuck you. You don't know what's going to happen. I slept with the Phoenix. All that kind of shit. And
the Phoenix, M Day just got rid of the powers. It didn't kill the mutants, did it?
No, but some of them died because they could have been flying or phasing through a wall and that sort of stuff, and they died. But also, yes, it wiped out an entire species. Fuck you. And, crippled people for life. That's horrible. And by an Avenger. So fuck you in this situation, Wanda. And you know what? They become the Phoenix Five. Yes, they go a little nuts. But they fix the world. They try and fix the world. And the Avengers fight them every step of the way. They're like, they've got too much power. It's like, if you stood with us, this would happen. But no, they make them fight and break up so that the Phoenix goes into one person and ends up in Cyclops. So he goes a little crazy and kills Professor X. Blah, 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 blah. And Wolverine's like, oh, you killed Professor X. It's like, Wolverine, you have killed hundreds of people. Hundreds of people. And you're judging me for this bullshit. And if you guys had helped us, they were curing disease, famine, stopping war because they were the Phoenix and they could fix things. And when Hope did get the Phoenix Force, her and Wanda set it free, and it did bring back mutants. So Cyclops was literally right, and you fought him every step of the way. And for what? Fuck you. Cyclops is right.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. Well done. Do you need another glass of water?
Yeah. Those are my big two rants. That and politics.
Yeah, we've done that already. Good. Well, I can't follow up with that.
I know. I've got some left over that look a bit shit now. I've got Squidward from SpongeBob.
Whatever. I did not put him on my list, but I did put on my list.
Tell me.
Starro from the Suicide Squad.
I saw that and I'm like, I don't get it.
Here's why. Because obviously the team. This is the Idris Elba film, not the Will Smith film. Obviously.
Okay.
I was going to say, not the Margot Robbie film, but she's in both of them. Anyway, it's the one where at the end, it's a giant starfish, basically, with an eyeball in the middle, who basically goes on a rampage. And they don't know what it is that they're trying to stop until, further along in the movie. And it has these tiny starfish that kind of go onto people's faces and takes and like it's basically mind control. And so this starfish goes on this rampage, and they end up stopping him. Ratcatcher does anyway. It's really interesting how it works together, and it turns out that even though Starro, I don't know if that's its name.
Yeah, I think so.
Give it to him. Dies. Somehow they're able, because it's mind control, they're able to realize that actually Starro was just in outer space, minding his own business, floating through outer space, watching the sky, when he was abducted by humans and done experiments on him, and that was why he was a bit sort of maniacal when he got out. I mean, I can't even say like he had some big plan to sort of like, I am fighting for this thing to get out, and I'm going to kill these people. I'm going to get it, even if it means I have to kill people. No, he's just trying to escape.
Just trying to get out. Okay, that makes sense.
So not as good as Cyclops' story, but also...
Sorry, not as impassionate as my Cyclops story.
It was quite its interesting sort of twist as well. Because he would never like had a sort of... He wasn't even a threat.
Just bobbing along.
Yep. That's all I got on my list, but I have 2 honorable mentions. So,
should I power through my leftovers and then you can do your honorable mentions?
Are these leftovers as good as the other ones, or
no.
Are these your honorable mentions? Do your honorable mentions.
Okay. Poison Ivy.
Yeah, tell me about her. Because she's like plants take over the world again.
Basically. Yeah. Again, nowadays the whole thing of like it's the meme, isn't it? It's her and Mr. Freeze, and they're like, he wants to save climate change and she wants to reforest the planet. And you want us to side with the billionaire? I don't think so. The fact that Bruce Wayne would absolutely would have been responsible for deforestation, and I'm on Poison Ivy's side. Yeah. So definitely her.
I forgot about the climate change thing.
Yeah.
Was that in that film as well? Was it mentioned in that film? The one with Val Kilmer? No, was it?
No, he wasn't trying to save. He was just trying to save his wife. Yeah, I don't know. That was. Let's not. I can't even. It was great, but no.
No.
I've got Yzma as well.
I fucking love that film.
Because I love Yzma, and also this guy, before his redemption arc, maybe even afterwards, was a shit piece of shit, and she was just running the government, and he just tossed her out. So fuck you. And she was right when she's like, no one will care when he's dead. And no one did. Nobody cared because he was a tyrant.
Yeah, he was awful. So good for a redemption arc, though. I keep bumping into this thing.
Yeah. I put Khaleesi as well.
Khaleesi.
Because she was right for a big chunk of it.
Right.
And people kept fighting. At times. People kept fighting her and that sort of stuff. And I feel like if they'd just gone along with what she wanted to do, she wouldn't have lost her mind. It's like, guys... Well, yes, she was right. She was right. She's like, I'm going to go and kill Cersei because she's a psycho bitch. She would have done that. If Tyrion hadn't stopped her, she's like, I'll be back in a sec, babes. All right, let's go take care of the White Walkers. Everyone's great.
Yeah, I'm the queen now. Let me save the realm.
I'm the queen now. I'm going to save the realm from all these things. Yeah. Yay. And she would have been right. But everybody fought her. Everyone assumed they knew what was right. And Jon fucking Snow thought, oh, I'm going to be great. Fuck you. You suck.
I'm the prince that was promised. Like, no. Oh, wait. Have you read the books? You have read the books?
No.
You haven't read the books?
No.
Prince that was promised.
Tom from Tom and Jerry.
What?
I was always a Tom fan. I'm like, just eat the fucking mouse. This mouse is horrible.
Although Jerry is a fucking psychotic
mouse. He's a psychopath.
The weird things that he does.
Awful. And I've also got Evil Willow. To start with.
Yeah.
Again, to start with. Warren should have died. Bye.
Ugh. Again, it's like the methods that you take make you a villain. It's not just the desire. Like
some people can die.
Watching your girlfriend get shot. But that's awful.
He had no remorse. He was a psycho. Okay, he's gone now. And if they were all on the same side, maybe we could have done that. But they fought her every step of the way and made it worse. And she's like, you know what? I'm sick of you people.
Yeah, I got the power now. I'm just gonna.
I'm just fed up of you. That's me done. Who are your honorable mentions?
I'm just thinking of. I forgot about. Oh, well, I've got 2 honorable mentions. I've got the film Labyrinth with David Bowie as the Goblin King.
I've never seen it.
Have you never seen it? Okay, you watch that, and I will go.
I'm alright. I don't think it's my thing.
Well, it's like basically if you are a fan of like Fraggle Rock, and
I mean I like Jim Henson stuff.
It's Jim Henson, yeah, and I never watched Fraggle Rock, but I fucking loved Labyrinth and watched some of the Muppets as well, but not all the Muppets. Everyone seems to love the Muppets over here.
All the Muppets. I love the Muppets. Yeah.
You will love Labyrinth.
I don't think I will. It's too old now. There's no nostalgia love. It's just going to be old and shit. It's too late.
No. Okay. When you have children, you can watch it now.
That's not going to happen. I think
you
we're
have
fine.
babies. No, he's great because basically the only reason, because it's a young Jennifer Connelly as the Sarah who has to go through the labyrinth and learn her way to get her younger brother back, who she's supposed to be babysitting. Basically, she's just like moody teenager. In the very beginning, there's like a storm, and she basically summons the Goblin King to take the baby away. So he only exists because she called him there. He takes the baby, and then like makes this sort of give this challenge to Jennifer Connelly, saying if you can make it through the labyrinth, and then the stories about all the twists and turns and people she meets and puzzles that she has to figure out. Meanwhile, David Bowie is basically taking care of the baby and like is treating it pretty well, and
he's not going to eat it or anything.
Musical numbers and dance parties, and they're having a good time with all the Goblin Muppets or whatever, and it's fantastic. And then she eventually has to, because it's a children's show, she has to go and find him eventually and defeat him and get the baby back. And she's learned a lesson, but it's like it's all great. But he wasn't that bad. He was just there because you wanted him to be there and to take the baby from you because you're upset with him crying so much. Because you're a moody teenager. So he was right.
Fair.
So that's one. And this last one here, I'm just going to mention, because I've not seen the show and you have, Skeletor.
Okay, I saw this one as well.
Did you see the little comment from the Reddit user?
Yes, I saw this one as well. And I love Skeletor, and I have a bizarre sexual attraction to Skeletor that...
Who doesn't?
I need to talk about with my therapist. But no, Skeletor was not right. He never had any intentions, like, if he was doing it to, like, get rid of the monarchy, I think that would have been great. Would have been on his side for that, because, like...
He's
the
prince?
King Randor, Queen Marlena, and Prince Adam's, like, get it... Fuck off. Why are you in charge? If he was doing it for those reasons, great. But he wasn't. He just wanted power and stuff. So
okay. Well, this comment, I'm going to read it to you. Have you seen it? He was just lonely and surrounded by idiots and incompetent people, and he just wanted to get home. He-Man could have easily shared the power of Grayskull. Yeah, that's all. I don't know.
No, but yeah, but no. I love Skeletor, but no.
That's fun.
Don't think he was right.
Okay, fine.
I believe he could have been damaged and mentally scarred and that sort of stuff because he was a servant to Hordak and all that kind of stuff. He could get his backstory, but they've remade that show so many times and it's always been bad. I think just let it. And they've cast that guy from the Amazon thing to be He-Man. I'm like, we don't need it.
Which Amazon thing?
The one with Anne Hathaway, and he was also one of the guys in Red, White, and Royal Blue, in the Amazon version of that. I think his name's Nicholas something. I should know that. He's been cast as He-Man. Have a Google of it.
I'll look it up.
I don't think we need it. I don't think we need a live action He-Man. They've been talking about it for 20 years. But it won't be good because you can't look like He-Man. Skeletor's going to look stupid. Yeah. And it was a fun, silly 80s cartoon. You
just
can't
leave
replicate
80s cartoons in the 80s.
Just leave them there. I think we're fine. Apart from Bionic 6. Bionic 6 should have a reboot. That's fucking great.
Go listen to that episode if you haven't already.
It's a great episode.
Episode 12 or whatever it was.
It's really early on, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wrap up?
No, you do it.
Okay. Good. That's good. Dear listener, if you have listened to this episode and you're like, hang on, what about so-and-so from this other show and comic book and video games, whatever, we didn't really mention video games very much, let us know. Maybe we'll do another episode like this. Villains that were right. Please get in touch. We love hearing from you. You can either contact us on Instagram or TikTok. Our handles there are Incomplete Geeks. Follow us while you're there, like our stuff. It really does help us out and makes us feel nice. Or send us an email at incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. We read every single email we get. If you want to give us some hate speech, just put my name in front of it so Nick doesn't see it.
I get very upset by that sort of stuff. Please don't send it to me.
I love it. I think it's hilarious. But thank you for listening. Share this with your friends. Let them know that we are amazing and like this episode if you did. If you didn't, just go away.
Just shush.
We know we're talking about sometimes, but sometimes we get things wrong because we're not complete geeks.
But we are working on it.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye-bye.